What's up, everybody? JVille Sports here with my daily sports picks video, college football edition. It is Friday night, November the 9th, getting ready for a huge college football Saturday. We have a lot of rivalry games going. Should be a pretty decent slate of games. First of all, I want to thank you all for joining me today and each and every time I put out a video. I appreciate all you guys. Thank you guys so much. For those of you that are new to the channel, what I do with college football is obviously on Saturdays, there's just a ton of games out there. There's a bunch of games that I like, and I want to give you guys as many good picks as I can give you. And so a fun way that I like to do it is I put together a bunch of picks. I do not give out my best picks in this, but I give out the next secondary picks. A lot of these games I do put in myself. A lot of them, I decide at the last minute not to. But these are games that I'm strongly leaning towards, and most of them I end up playing. But anyways, what I do is I put them all together into a huge parlay. I call it my Longshot Parlay. And we haven't hit it this year. We probably won't because it's a long shot parlay. But I love doing it. I love being a little bit crazy, definitely on the weekends, and I do put a little bit on it and try to get lucky. I don't recommend you guys doing it, but the purpose of it is just for me to give you guys out a bunch of plays, and I just put it together into a parlay, like I said, to have a little bit of fun. But like I said, the point is, if there are any of these games that you're looking at already, you're leaning towards, and we're leaning towards the same way, that gives you some extra confidence. Otherwise, if it's a game that you are also looking at, but you're leaning the other way, then it gives you some hesitation. Like I said, it's just a way for me to give you guys out a bunch of picks, and then you guys decide what to do with it. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. That's what I do with college football. I give out a bunch of picks. Again, I put it into a big parlay. I put it in myself, and we see what happens. And towards the end of the video, I'll also give out a straight bet. Which is another game that I'm definitely taking myself, another strong play that I like. All other plays, my top bets, will be over on my Patreon page, which I'll get into shortly. But let's go ahead and recap quickly what we did last week. Starting with our free play straight bet that we gave out. We had the over in the Nebraska-Ohio State game. There definitely was a lot of points scored in this game, but unfortunately, we did not reach the total. The total was 72.5. It opened at 71, so it was bet up a little bit. We didn't get the best of the number, but either way, it wouldn't have mattered. The game finished at 67. So like I said, a lot of points scored. They got close to that total, but we were about a touchdown or so away. So that was unfortunate there because there was a lot of red zone chances that did not come through for both teams. So like I said, unfortunate. So we lose that one. So our free play record now sits at 7-5, so 58%. So still really good, but we want to get over that 60% mark, which is great. So hopefully after today we'll definitely be there. And then let's quickly go over, don't want to make this too long a video, we'll go over last week's long shot parlay. It was one of the rare occasions where we actually had a losing day. Our overall record is at the top. We're 53-36, so 59%. Whenever you're above 55%, you're doing great things, or you're doing really good things. Once you're above 60%, you're doing great things. So hopefully after this week, we'll be over 60% in these picks as well. But we had California plus 10. They won that game. We had Eastern Michigan minus 13.5. This is last week. They won the game, but they only won by 10, so we missed that one by about a field goal. Duke, we had plus 9 against Miami. They played pretty much in a hurricane. Duke won that game plus 9.5, and they won outright. So nice winner there. Memphis, East Carolina over 64. Complete shootout there. They went over that total. Illinois plus 10. I believe they were another outright winner against Minnesota. So we had two pretty much double-digit underdogs, and they won outright. But then we go into some losses here. San Jose State plus 14.5, and they lose by 15. So we missed that one by half a point. Washington and Stanford under 45.5. And that one ended at 50, so we missed that one by 4.5 points. Texas minus 1.5. That was a tough one. They They lost by 1 point. West Virginia going by 2. Gutsy call at the end of the game. It came through. Whether they got that or not, we had -1.5, so that hook would have got us. And then last but not least, Syracuse Wake Forest over 75.5, which was a loss. There was a lot of points scored in that game. Let me quickly see where that was. $65. So again, another game where a ton of points were scored, but like the Ohio State game, it didn't quite reach the total, so that one missed by about 10 points. So again, it was a 4-5 record with our long shot picks. And yeah, it's definitely one of the rare weeks. Most weeks we're at least 5-4 or better. So we'll definitely look back to get on the winning track. So let's turn that page, get into this week. Have a lot of good games. This week's long shot, it's pretty evenly spread out. I have 3 sides and then 6 totals, but I have 3 unders and 3 overs. So 3 sides, 3 unders, 3 overs. So we'll see how we do. I think I like a lot of these picks, so we'll see how we do. But before we get into this week, just really quickly, I want to mention my Patreon page. This is where I post all my plays every single day in all sports. We're having an awesome November, just killing it in the NBA, college basketball. We're off to a hot start already. NHL, lately we've been on the hot streak as well, and then of course college football and NFL. Pretty much everything that we're putting out there in all sports in November is coming through. So we're having a really hot month. So if you're interested in all those plays, definitely check out my Patreon page. This is what it looks like. This is how to get there. If you have any questions about the page, it's pretty easy to use. But go ahead and shoot me an email or all my social media pages, all listed down below. Give me a shout in any of those, and I'll be happy to chat, answer any questions. If you have any specific games you want me to touch on, because I do look at all games, even though I don't give out picks on all games, let me know. I'll be happy to give you my opinion. But otherwise, all my top plays are over on the Patreon page. My best straight bets, my best parlays. We hit some crazy parlays recently. A long cross-sport parlay we hit the other week. So like I said, we're doing great things. Teasers, of course. So all that's over on Patreon. Check it out. Let's go ahead and move on to this week. It is week 11 already, getting down to the nitty-gritty. You really need to start looking at these teams that have something to play for and teams that just, are going through the motions right now. We have some coaches on the hot seat, coaches getting fired but still coaching. Just a lot of things to look out for. It's also getting close to winter time. You got to look at the weather. A lot of cold weather games, a lot of windy games, so definitely look out for that. So just a lot of factors to consider. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Week 11. So we'll start off with our long shot parlay. Let me go ahead and put it up on the screen here. And I'll go ahead and run through the sides and then the unders and then finish off with the overs. So we're starting with Texas -1.5. They are on the road against Texas Tech. So we have a nice little in-state rivalry game. And this is going to be a tough one, definitely. How is Texas going to be after that tough defeat against West Virginia last week? It could be kind of a letdown game for them, even though they lost that game. You would think they would want to bounce back, but it was just such a tough loss because they had that game and then they let West Virginia drive at the very end. And on top of that, they let them convert a 2-point conversion. So just a tough way to lose. And now they have to get up for this game. I'm still going to take them, though. One of the factors, though, Texas Tech lost their starting quarterback. Bowman is not going to play in this one. So this is going to be a tough game for their backup to come in and play against a tough Texas game. Like I said, in-state rivalry game. Texas is battle-tested. They beat Oklahoma. A couple tough, close losses to West Virginia, Oklahoma State. But this is a very good Texas team. They're a lot better when they're in the underdog role. But again, with that injury to Texas Tech's quarterback, I think that gives Texas just enough of an edge to win this game. It's only -1.5. Open at +1. So a little bit of the money's coming in on Texas, and that's the way I'm going. SMU minus 18. SMU needs to win out here to make a bowl game. Probably won't happen, but at least they have something to play for, and they're just a much better team here. They're coming off a huge upset win over Houston. If they play the same way, they should absolutely crush UConn, even though they're on the road. So minus 18 should be a lot of points scored in this one. UConn can't stop anybody. SMU should be able to score as much as they want and cover the spread. Next, we'll go with the last side. I'm going to go with FIU. They are playing UTSA. UTSA is not going to be able to keep up with Florida International here. I love them. They are, let me pull them up here really quickly here. They are 4-1 in the Conference USA, and they hold the tiebreaker against Middle Tennessee State. Yes, they do. So as long as they win out, they control their own destiny. So they have a lot to play for here. UTSA, obviously nothing to play for. So even though they're on the road here, like I said, they have everything to play for, and their schedule to end is pretty manageable. Should be an easy win here. Next week they have Charlotte, easy win there, but then they finish against tough game against Marshall, so they can't slip up here. So I like Florida International to take care of business. Again, UTSA, again, they just don't have the offense to keep up here. So those are our sides. Let's go ahead and move on to our unders. Starting with South Carolina and Florida. Florida, they're a mess offensively. They're flip-flopping back and forth between quarterbacks. A lot of injuries on that team. South Carolina on the road isn't as good as they are at home. And Florida has a really good defense. So I like this game to stay under 54. 54 is not a lot these days, but in the SEC, a couple good defenses. Like I said, Florida quarterback situation, not as good. I like this game to stay under the total. Miami, Florida, and Georgia Tech under 55. We know Georgia Tech can just eat up the clock. They can score a lot of points as well if the opposing team is not prepared for the triple offense. Miami plays against it, though. So it shouldn't be anything new for them. And they completely got smashed by Duke. So I think they bring a better effort this week, especially on the defensive side, and their offense is just not very good at all. Another team flipping back and forth between quarterbacks. They just don't have very many good options. And like I said, Georgia Tech will just eat up the clock, especially at home. So I like this game to stay under the total, under 55. Temple, and did I skip one? Oh, I skipped Southern Miss and UAB. That was the first under 47. We just have two really good defenses, especially UAB. Their defense in their conference has been dominant. 47 is a really low total, but I think we're going to have a lot of running the ball here. A couple quarterbacks banged up. I like this game to stay under the total. Again, two very good defenses and a couple banged up quarterbacks on both sides. I like this game to stay under the 47. And now we're going to go to three potential shootouts here, starting with Temple and Houston. I just don't see a lot of defense in this game. Houston's coming off a tough upset loss to SMU. They're going to be fired up, especially at home. They're going to score a ton of points here. Temple doesn't have a very good defense, and Temple lately has been scoring the ball. They've looked really good offensively. So 69 is a high total, but I like this game to go over that. Next, we have Purdue and Minnesota. Typically, I don't like to take Minnesota or very many Big Ten matchups on the over, but Purdue has been scoring, and they can definitely give up some scoring. Minnesota, like I said, I think they were without their quarterback last week. I was on Illinois. They completely smashed Minnesota, but I'm going to be on Minnesota and Purdue. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in here. Like I said, I think it's going to be a shootout. That's just the type of game Purdue plays. You know, they score and they give up scoring, especially on the road here. Minnesota should definitely should be able to score a lot at home, especially the performance that they had last week. I like them to bounce back here and have a much better performance. San Jose State and Utah State over 65.5, or over 65, I should say, open at 63, so it has moved up a little bit. question mark here with Utah State's quarterback, but I don't think it's going to matter. Utah State is going to run the ball all over San Jose State. It doesn't matter what Utah State does here. They're going to score. They're not going to score. They're not going to cover the over by themselves, but they're going to get pretty damn close. If San Jose State can just score a little bit, a couple touchdowns, Utah State will do the rest. Like I said, they could score about 50 here. Just all on the ground. I mean, they're gonna run all over San Jose State, especially at home. Whether the quarterback plays or not, I love Utah State here to just score a ton of points on San Jose State. And San Jose State, they definitely are playing a lot better now than they were to start the season. I definitely think they can score some points here, and we don't need much from them, but just a little bit, and this game should go over. So that's going to be it. That's our long shot bet. Again, we have 3 sides, 3 unders, 3 overs. We will see how we do. Again, I don't recommend you guys putting in this long shot like I'm going to, but maybe pick out a few and do a smaller parlay. Or like I said, we're hitting 59% with the straight bets. Pick out your favorites and take them straight, because a lot of these are coming in. So let's go ahead and move on now to this week's free play straight bet. And I'm going to go with one of the big rivalry games. It's much more of a rivalry in basketball, but the hatred definitely spreads throughout all other sports. And just, these two teams, and everything they do, they just don't like each other. I'm going with North Carolina here and Duke, and I'm going to take the underdog, North Carolina. Like I said, both these teams don't have a ton to play for here, but this is a game that they're both going to show up for and give it all they have. And in those type of games, I like to go with the underdog. 10 points is a lot. North Carolina, they had a lot of bad breaks this year. They're better than their record shows, and if they bring it, they definitely can win this game outright, even though it's on the road. I like for this to be a very, very competitive game, back and forth game that either team can win. And then, like I said, those types of games, I am going to go with the underdog. 10 points is a lot, especially for Duke, even though they're at home. So I love the 10 here. I'm going to take North Carolina. And so we're going to try to go to 8-5 with our free play straight bets and go back over the 60% mark. And continue the great season we're having. So that's going to wrap up this video. Hopefully it wasn't too long. We went through last week's, we went through this week's, and that's going to be it. So I want to thank you guys. Stay tuned for my NFL video coming soon. I'm going to try to put out a college basketball video here shortly. Even though we are off to a hot start, I'm still kind of in data gathering mode. So I'm going to be bringing you guys some college basketball parlays here shortly. So stay tuned for that as well, along with all my other videos in the NBA and whatnot. So again, thank you guys so much for joining me today. If you're interested in all of my other plays, this is the season where I just kill it. I hit a 25-team parlay the other day. This is just a time when you have NBA, college basketball, NFL, college football, sprinkle in a little bit of NHL, and you can just put together some gnarly parlays, and that's what I do right now. So like I said, if you're interested, check out my Patreon page. Otherwise, I will see you guys very soon. Have an awesome Saturday with whatever you guys got planned, and good luck with any picks you guys decide to put in. I'm rooting for all you guys. But like I said, good luck, and I'll see you guys soon.